I should have known the second I saw her smile slip that something was wrong. We were at our usual Friday night spot, the dim lighting throwing shadows across her face, making her eyes flicker nervously. I wanted to believe it was nothing, just a bad day at work. Maybe too much coffee, maybe a fleeting mood. But then she leaned in and whispered, "Relax, he's just a coworker." I froze mid-sip, my hands tightening around the glass. Across the table, a man I didn't recognize laughed too loudly, a hand brushing hers in a familiarity that made my stomach twist. "Just a coworker?" I repeated, my voice lower than I intended. She forced a chuckle and nodded. But the doubt had already taken root. "We ordered." I watched her pretend to be comfortable, her fingers tracing the rim of her wine glass, her eyes darting to her phone, then back to him. Every laugh, every tilt of her head toward him felt like a dagger I couldn't pull out. I told myself I was imagining things. Maybe he was a charming colleague, maybe they were just friends. But something in the way she avoided my gaze, in the way he called her by a nickname I didn't know, told me otherwise. When the waiter arrived, I almost didn't notice him. He had that easy smile, the kind that makes everyone relax without meaning to. But then he looked at her, and a flicker of recognition crossed his face. "Good evening, Miss Lawson. And Mr. Carter as always," he said, voice warm but not too casual. My heart stopped. "Who's Mr. Carter?" I asked, trying to sound normal. My words trembled even as I spoke. "Oh, just someone I work with," she said quickly, her hand moving to cover mine, like that would erase the question from my mind. "He's a good friend. Nothing more." The waiter nodded politely and walked away, and I noticed the small, almost imperceptible glance they shared once he was gone. My stomach churned. I wanted to scream, to confront her, to demand the truth. But instead I sat frozen, trying to swallow the lump forming in my throat. It wasn't the first time I'd felt it. Little signs I had brushed off, pretending not to notice. The sudden late nights, the unexplained texts she guarded like secrets. The way she sometimes laughed at something on her phone and didn't show me. I wanted to trust her. I had to. But that night, sitting across from her, it was impossible. I tried to make conversation, my voice forced and brittle. I asked about her week, about work projects, anything to distract from the unease twisting inside me. But she was distant, her eyes always flicking toward him. I caught her leaning just a little too close, sharing a joke, the kind of intimacy that shouldn't exist at a restaurant table. I wanted to leave. I wanted to stand up and walk out, leave her and the lies behind. But I didn't. Part of me needed to see, to know. And so I stayed, drinking my water slowly, watching her lips move, listening to laughter that didn't belong to me. When the meal came, he reached across to hand her the menu, and their fingers brushed. I saw it, the way she smiled, the way she looked at him. Not like a colleague, not like a friend. I felt my chest tighten, a sharp physical ache. I wanted to ask, "Who is he?" But the words died in my mouth. I wasn't ready for the answer. After dinner, I excused myself to the restroom, hoping to collect myself, to breathe without him in my line of sight. When I returned, they were talking more quietly now, leaning in close. My heart sank with every gesture, every glance, every small smile I had once believed was mine alone. I sat back down and forced a smile, though my hands shook. She reached for my hand and I let her, but my mind was elsewhere, replaying every moment, every lie, every sign I had ignored. I realized then how long this had been going on, how deep the deception ran. The final blow came when the waiter returned with the check. He handed it to her, and she took it with a polite nod. But then he paused, glanced at me, and in a voice just loud enough for her to hear said, "It's always a pleasure to see you, Mr. Carter." Time stopped. She looked at him, then at me, her face draining of color. I saw the truth in her eyes before she could speak, before she could form the words she would never say. The lie was over. I didn't need a confession. I didn't need an apology. The betrayal was there in the way she avoided my gaze, in the way she tried to cover her panic with a nervous smile. I pushed the chair back slowly, standing. My voice was calm, but it carried a weight I had never used before. "I'll leave you two to finish your project," I said. No accusation, no shouting. Just a simple, cold acknowledgement of reality. She opened her mouth, but I turned and walked out. I didn't look back. The cool night air hit me, and I felt a mixture of heartbreak and relief. I realized that I had been blind, clinging to the person I thought she was rather than the person she showed me she really was. And as much as it hurt, I also knew something vital. I had seen the truth and I could finally begin to let go. I walked to my car, my hands still trembling, my chest heavy, but a strange clarity settling over me. She would continue her games, her lies, her hidden smiles. But I wouldn't. I had been betrayed, yes, but I was not broken. I had witnessed the truth and survived it. Later that night, I deleted her number from my phone. I didn't need to see her, didn't need to hear her excuses. I drove away from that restaurant, the memory of her laugh and the waiter's knowing glance burning in my mind. But with every mile I felt a little lighter. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt free. And somewhere in the back of my mind I smiled faintly. Not in revenge. Not in triumph. But in quiet, undeniable acceptance. I had loved, I had been deceived, and I had survived.